It's not like today, there's no Instagram reels that you can start watching to train yourself. Like there was no training online for door-to-door, period. And couple that with the fact that my sales manager was a 1,000 account rep who did not want to hear from you. Like it was just like, don't freaking call me, bro. Like under no circumstances.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Door-to-Door Podcast. Today's going to be a really good one. There's been a lot of Canadian guests on, and we had to keep the train going. So today we brought on Mr. Brendan Quinlan. Did I say that right? Sorry, Quinlan?
Oh, you nailed it, man. Yeah.
Nailed it. Brendan Quinlan, hailing all the way from Drakeland, aka Toronto, Canada. Brendan, welcome to the Door-to-Door Podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate being on. And yeah, live in Toronto now. Actually hail from Regina, Saskatchewan. Probably the first guest already. Yeah. No man's land. Probably the first guest from there. But I got into this, Tom Karen actually came through my campus in 2007 or 8 and recruited me to, yeah, man, I know. And recruited me to go work in Florida many, many years ago. And I've been in pest control since.
Hold on, we got to pause it, dude. Sorry, I do this. Sometimes I'm talking to people and they say like buzzwords, Florida. I just moved here to Salt Lake from Florida. I was only in Florida for 6 months. I'm from California. Yeah. However, I do love Florida. What part were you in?
Dude, I love Florida too. And it's so funny because I was coming from Saskatchewan, right? And everybody wanted to be in Miami. And they were just like, hey, is it okay if we put you in Jacksonville? And I'm just like, dude, heck yeah. If it's Florida, like I don't like, and so nobody wanted to go to Jacksonville. Everybody wanted to go to Miami or Tampa or even Orlando. Yeah. But my friend and I, Jordan Earl, who we still work with each other today, we went to Jacksonville and it was great. We got tons of territory, loved it there. The culture shock could not have been more intense comparatively to like small town Canada. Like Florida's just so random and strange and knocking doors there. Like, it's just, like it's just wild. But dude, it made for some good rookie stories, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm positive. I was just a few hours south of you, quite a few hours in like Delray, West Palm Beach area.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude. My very first door when I landed there. So like a couple of years ago, I was a VP for a solar company and we had a team in Florida. So I would go out there and like, do my visits, stay there for a bit, knock with the team, whatever. But like my first time actually going there way back in, when was it? It was actually, dude, no way. This is funny. I'm driving to work. Snapchat pops up with the Snapchat memories, right? 1 year ago today, I landed in Florida, literally 1 year ago today on the 23rd.
Oh, wow.
And started trying out storm restoration and roofing out there. But my very first door in Florida, right? It is a nice neighborhood. It wasn't anything sketchy. Open the door. I mean, straight gun to the face. Like literally, boom. And I was just like... We in Florida now, boys, swamp boys, gators. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Dude, that's wild. Actually, the year I went to Jacksonville, my parents were horrified. They were definitely like, oh, he got tricked into the biggest scam of all time, leaving small time Canada, going to Jacksonville, Florida. So a quick Google search revealed that Jacksonville was the murder capital of the United States that year. And my mom just about cried. And it was just like pleading me to not go. And it was weird because, I knew no one who had done anything in door-to-door at all in any way, shape, or form. And certainly not in Florida, certainly not in the U.S., definitely not in pest control.
Yeah.
And so it was just such a random thing that didn't resonate with anyone that I knew back home. But it was a great journey.
That's awesome, dude. I'm sorry to interrupt. So, guys, Brendan is a 19-year door-to-door veteran. 19 years. There are listeners right here, Brendan, that were probably born the same year that you started knocking doors. So that's probably a wild.
I know, dude.
You probably have people.
That is a very sad reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That is a sad reality for me. We have reps that are 19, and when I tell them about my rookie year, being 19 years ago, and 13 years of those were like I was knocking, like not just like being the cool manager who flew in and gave some cool correlations. Like I was knocking for 13 hard, long years, and about, I guess it would have been half of which in the United States, and then eventually in Canada. And I'm so excited that the door-to-door event door-to-door con Canada, or I don't know if we're just going with door-to-door can. I think we should.
That's what we're saying here at the office. DDD can.
Working title. Yeah, okay, I like that. And so I'm so excited about that event because, it's a sleeper space in Canada. It's not as big a deal nearly in the US. There'll be homeowners in Canada that are only knocked a handful of times. And when I wanted to start knocking doors in Canada, I got laughed out of the big pest control companies' offices. I went to all of them. Mm-hmm. And finally, Orkin was like, I guess, sure, like we'll give it a shot, but like if you'll leave me alone kind of thing. Yeah. And so Orkin gave me a shot in 2012 to go out and knock some doors. They were not willing to do it as a reoccurring model. Reoccurring pest control didn't exist in Canada. So they're like, hey, go out and sell one times, but, get an annual value on it. So I was like, all right, well, hey, it's better than nothing. I got my feet wet in 2012 with Orkin. They hated the program. They just pest control was just like extermination services in Canada prior to, us really getting established here. And they just didn't see the vision. So they cut bait on the program after the first year. So I kind of went back to the US, had some, relative success in the US, but certainly not comparatively to what we've experienced now. And then in 2016, we talked Terminex into giving it a try. And we had marketed for Terminex in the US. We talked to Terminex about doing it in Toronto, and it just took off. It was initially my brother and my wife and I, this was 10 years ago. And dude, nobody was down to knock with us. Everybody was just like, dude, if you we're only having mild success in the US. They're like, it's going to be obviously less success in Canada was like what all of our reps thought, right? Mm-hmm. But we got out there, and my brother and I, my wife and I, we started cranking, and things went well in Toronto. We went up to Vancouver. We started to recruit salespeople. Fast forward to now, and we are up to about 500 reps across the country. Wow. And we no longer market, we do the fulfillment. So we actually own the Pest brand as well, which is Insight Pest Solutions Canada, mouthful. And it has become the largest residential pest control company in Canada. And we've only been operating it since 2020.
Wow, dude. Guys, if you heard that, moral of the story here is don't listen to the naysayers and bet on yourself and take risks. I mean, every major pest company was kind of laughing at you. One was down to clown, just enough to give you the support you need to go up there and try the waters. And now 500 plus reps, largest residential or largest pest control company in Canada. Good for you, man. That's rad. And also before I forget, 19-year vet, you could have told me you were 25 and I would have believed you, dude. You're doing well. I'm sure people watching this would agree. That's probably, I bet they were like, 19 years? How old is he? You said 25, I'd have been like, yep. If you said 35, I would have been like, yep. So good for you. But
started knocking when I was 11.
Were you pest control the entire 19 years?
Yeah, so we spun out.
You coming, dude? Sheesh. All right.
No, so last year we wanted some new growth verticals, and so we're like, hey, let's give alarms a try. And we got a contract with TELUS, which is a big provider here in Canada. Many of the guys that go to the door-to-door Canada event will be TELUS salespeople, which is a telecom company. And so we went out and tried to sell their smart home securities in Quebec, the French-speaking part of Canada. And we did moderately okay. We also dipped our toe in the solar waters, and not so hot. It was difficult for us to transition from a small ticket to a large ticket item. Sure. But having said that, that is something that I anticipate that we'll want to try again once we kind of get back to it. But we did this winter actually open Melbourne, Australia. Whoa. So just like in Canada, we want the new frontier to be in Australia. And so we opened our own pest control company over there because just like Canada, all the big companies told us it wouldn't work, and they told us all the reasons that it wouldn't work. I called all of them. I called all of the pest control companies in Australia, and none of them were even down to clown, as you put it, in any way, shape, or form. And so, dude, we're just like, screw it. Let's start our own pest control company over there. How hard can it be?
Sure.
It was a bit of a nightmare getting the pest control company started, but the sales were flying, and we're excited this coming year to run out. This past year, we had about a dozen reps in Australia. And the cool thing about it is it just allows them to extend their season, right? Yeah. So now they don't just knock doors for 4 to 6 months. They go over to Australia where their winter is our summer is their winter. Yeah, thanks. It's swapped.
First.
And as a result, when we go over there, it's our winter, their summer, and our reps are just getting there in time for bug season to start in Australia. And we only had a dozen reps over there this past year, but this coming year, we're expecting to have 50 or 60 salespeople.
Wow.
And we're hoping to really start growing and establishing our Pest brand in Australia now. And dude, it's just been like, it was wild getting it started. Like just like all of the nuances that are different, like everything, different product names, different bank accounts, different insurance practices. Like it really was an undertaking, but we've built the foundation and we're kind of excited to expand it from here.
That's amazing. Yeah, that was going to be my question is like, you just like partner up with an existing company to fulfill and send reps over? Or it sounds like you just did the whole shit, dude.
Dude, we certainly would have loved to, like if we didn't, but just like none of them were down. And we were just even offering like really cheap commit, like we're just like next to doing it for free just about. But people were very closed-minded just in terms of, hey, door-to-door won't work here. Door-to-door is different in the US and even Canada. I think the Australians just lump us in with the US. They're like, hey, it's different over there. People here don't respond well to getting their door knocked on. And I was just like, hey, look, I heard that in Canada. It's not true. Like, yes, you do need to kind of reframe the reputation of the space. Yes, you need to bring honor and integrity into this space. But like, if you do that, and those are the core values of the salespeople that are heading up the start of something, then it can be successful. But it really, and the other thing is just like Canada, Australia is a non-recurring pest model, just meaning that they get one-time services, not ongoing. So we've had to try and change the perception of door-to-door and change the perception of pest control. Now we're able to do that in Canada, but doing it in Australia where pest control is more established, granted, people have it, they just have it 1 or 2 times a year. And so we're trying to change that to more of a monthly bill, subscription quarterly type program. And we had some decent success. Like the first month we struggled a little bit just adjusting, like it's such an adjustment, and what neighborhoods and where to go and where do termites play in and where do lawn services fit in. And so learning the market maybe in the first month, but in the second month we started cranking. We're only over there knocking for 2 months, but this year we're going to give it a full go. So man, we're stoked. Like we think that we could, it's ambitious, but we think maybe we could be one of the biggest residential companies over there after not too long. If we can kind of just keep building on kind of the program that we have so far.
I agree, man. Like it's ambitious and it's a big goal, and that should be the case when creating goals, right? But it's like if the general conception over there, from what it sounds like you're telling me, who did a lot of R&D, they don't like door to door, right? And one company comes in, just knowing how to run a good door to door op, I feel like it could be huge, dude. If you're competing just against ads, you know what I mean? Like you guys can probably blow up pretty big.
Thanks so much for listening to the DDD podcast and being such a loyal listener. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. And we have finally come out with a 2.0 to our DDD University. And we want to give you free access to our community where you can peruse around different micro courses to big pro and apprentice certifications. Whether you're in pest, solar, roofing, alarms, fiber, all these different industries have an amazing refresh of brand new content we spent the last year redoing. Why? Because we believe in leveling up this industry from ethics to mindset to skill sets to all the things that's going to make you an actual pro at doing this door-to-door job that we know is super difficult, but it's the same effort, but greater results with DDD 2.0. Go to our website and get access today.
But the bugs there, dude, do the sprays work? I hear they're massive, man.
It's wild. It's wild too. And like the reps would always be joking like, oh dude, I wonder if people will be asking about kangaroos and stuff like that. And sure enough, the rep house where all the sales reps lived, the kangaroos literally were a pest. Like they were everywhere on the property, just ripping by. The rep house, I felt so bad for the reps. We had to get the techs out there and just light it up because that place just had unbelievable spiders, unbelievable ants. Nope. And so it's buggy, dude, and it's never been knocked. So we feel like it's a great opportunity, but it does come with that like negative view or that dim view of door to door, and changing that perspective, like it's hard. The second there's one issue, like one misunderstanding, one non-compliant sale, that is actually going to take media attention in both Canada and Australia. And so we've actually dealt with negative news stories in both places about door-to-door.
Really?
And in some places of Canada, door-to-door is like outwardly, like completely banned and enforceably banned. And not only that, in major parts of Canada, most parts of Canada, large ticket item sales are banned door-to-door. So so because it's such a tight regulatory system, the quality control of sale, quality control on rep, quality control on the sales process is truly like first and foremost. Like it's the most important thing, because if there are issues, the government track record is just to ban it outright. And so getting out in front of that and staying on the right side of the law is like priority number one in both of these countries, which is, difficult when you have 500 sales reps and they're having, 100 customer interactions a day. One of those is going to go poorly. Several of those are going to go poorly. And damage control on that has been important for us. When we get a customer complaint, like we drop everything. Like that's like the most important thing, which is a challenge, but hey, I mean, it keeps us honest out there, and it makes sure that, again, we're selling high quality sales, and we have a good system to do that.
Totally, dude. And it sounds like you got a good head in your shoulders, and you take the ethical side of business very seriously, and that trickles down to the organization. So, I mean, I'm sure something's going to happen. That's just business. That's just life. That's just human nature too, especially when you factor in commissions and emotions, and people can get a little dicey sometimes when they're in a state of need. It just happens, especially this more sizable the organization. But it sounds like you've got a good grasp and make sure that the people do right to the people that they serve. So that's good.
Yeah,
dude. I'm sure there's lots of nuances and hiccups that you got to deal with expanding. But good for you. You're like a pioneer in the spaces where you're like built a career in no man's land almost. You're just used to you're not selling in Provo, Utah. You're going where no one wants to go, whether it's freezing cold temps majority of the year or having to square up with kangaroos on a daily basis. That's you, man. Brendan's going to be the front runner. I love it, dude. Good for you.
No, that's it.
This is interesting, but I want to kind of take it back, way back, 19 years ago. Tell me how you mentioned that you got recruited off campus. Tell me a little bit about that. And then tell me about just your first, if you can remember, just what it was like being a green rep door to door. How was it? Did success come quick? What were your struggles? And then, how did you overcome to continue on 19 years later?
Oh, dude. Well, so the story's kind of a funny one. I'll try and tell the quick version because I know that we're kind of tight on time. But so there's a job fair at my university, the University of Regina, and there's like this sketchy booth in the corner of the job fair, and it's manned by Tom Karen, who's a door-to-door Hall of Famer, legend, owner of Vantage and Insight in the U.S. Just an awesome dude. And so I go to the corner booth and I'm just like talking to everybody because I need a summer job. I'm bartending at the time. It's not really paying the bills. So I start talking to Tom. He's like, yeah, we're having actually an information session in this classroom after kind of school. You should come. And so I did. I went to the information session, and it was me and two other people. Nice. And they'd booked like a classroom that would seat 100 people. Oh, and so the room is empty, dude. And they're actually even giving away a PlayStation. And the other two people are literally only there for the free pizza. PlayStation 2. Okay. And I'm not that old. And so I'm pretty old. And so Tom Karen is like freaked out, right? Because like he's got 3 people that show up to this big information session. They traveled across the continent to be in the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan. Nobody shows up to their information session. He's got a PlayStation he still has to give away. But yeah, dude was just like straight up. He rigged it. He told me the draw for the PlayStation. I won. I won it because I was the only serious. I was the only serious candidate. He's like, hey, I don't normally do this, but like, that's what he did. And so I took the job, even though like everybody at the university is like, dude, did you actually go to that sketchy thing? And did you actually take that job? And I was just like, yeah, like I want to do it. People in a place where hey, A, it's a small town. B, nobody's done door to door. C, nobody knows anything about pest control. Like people just thought I was truly crazy. I thought I was going to recruit all of my friends though. So I was just like, dude, who cares? You get to live in Florida. Like, come with me.
Yeah.
And so I prospected literally everyone I'd ever known. Like, if you'd ever talked to me, dude, I was hitting you up to like come sell pest control with me. There's only one dude who is down, and that's my good friend Jordan Earl. And again, he's a partner in everything that we do today. He's actually the first person, and this is a hot topic that we get to later, but he actually sold 2 golden doors in pest control in Canada, but was not awarded those golden doors, which is spicy. We can come back to that. That's a little controversial. So let me just pause that for a second. We can come back to it. So anyway,
Wow.
so Jordan and I go down to Florida. Like, we love it. We make good money. We come back. Like, we tell all of our friends. The next year, all of our friends come. And then we just kind of go from there. Like, we built up programs, started on pest control companies in the US. I just remember my first door, though, just like, you know, very limited training. We showed up there assembling the desks. It was like a new branch. And like, they were just like, oh, I think there's a binder in the back. Good luck. Give us a call if you make any sales. Dude, we were using push-to-talk walkie-talkies to sell out there. We didn't even have cell phones. And it was like you had to use the customer's phone on some sales to book it. Like if you needed something outside of what was available, you had to ask the customer to use their phone so you could call the office to reserve the spot. So it was like there wasn't any Segways or iPads, I can tell you that.
Paper contracts, landlines, and walkie-talkies. Off you go, boys. Go
That's it. And so, yeah, it was just like now you're out there in Florida. And again, the culture could not be more different than Saskatchewan. Like people just like are so blunt and they say exactly what they think and mean. And that is not the case in Canada, where people are very much the opposite of that. More reserved, maybe not as blunt. And so, dude, it was just like weird. Like it was just such a weird experience. But yeah, I mean, we made a go of it, lived in the apartments, lived with a bunch of Mormon boys, which, you know, I'd never met anybody who was of that faith. And so learned a lot about that. And so it was a wild journey, dude. It was just a lot of fun. And you know, again, I just knew I was hooked. It was so transferable to sports, you know, as a high school athlete. And I was just like, hey, look, everything you learn in sports transitions over, like whether it's leadership or how to be part of a team or how to mentally prepare to go perform or how to bounce back from a loss, like all of those skills, how to be competitive within a team, but also against others individually. Like all of those transferable skills that I had from, you know, high school sports were like what I focused on in school. And now I was able to finally apply those to something that made money. And to me, that's just where it's just like, oh, this is for me. Like, I found what, you know, I want to do and I just stuck to it. I mean, obviously there was many, many, many years where people were just like, dude, you need to get a job. Like, totally. You are not like, because, you know, we've experienced some success now, but like there was many years where it's just like, you know, we got stiffed on a back end from a company that we marketed for, or we got, you know, the reps couldn't get visas, so then we couldn't come down. We had all these trucks ready to go service, or like we just had so many years where, you know, technically we failed like miserably, like lost money, worked the whole year, lost money. And so my family, my friends, everybody's just like, dude, you do need to get a job. Sure. And, you know, it was very difficult for many years to kind of soldier on. But I don't know, there's just like, to me, I just knew that like if we got the right team together, the right group together in the right place, that we could make it happen. And so I don't know, it's just stubbornness, I think, and not wanting to be wrong and not having to move back to Regina and live there. That was very like, you know, that's enough to keep you out there. Really? And so yeah, dude, I don't know. It's just kind of stubbornness that kind of kept things moving, I guess.
For sure. And it's funny, like, again, I've said this many podcasts and I apologize for the repetitiveness, but for our people that listen and tune in weekly, you know, top performers, top sales leaders, the people that are on this podcast, they all have a few things in common, which is a competitive background. I feel like it's a prerequisite for this job. Mm-hmm. You have to have a competitive nature, the willingness to go out and compete, not just against, you know, people in the company but yourself. People that look at numbers and feel a certain way if they're not where they feel like they should be. Like, some people would care less about a leaderboard. They're like, whatever, some people look at that and it's just like, it's like personal. They're like, I'm number 4, and it drives them. And a lot of top performers are that way because they have a competitive background, a blue collar background. I see a lot where it's just like, they just know how to work. They don't care what the day is, what the weather is. They're, blowing chunks, or if it doesn't matter, they're going to work. You know what I mean? And so it sounds like you have that background. But when you first started way out there, and something you forgot to mention that you told me earlier was not only was it a culture shock being in Florida, but it was actually the murder capital of the world that year. So you have all those other factors you just mentioned, and then you factor in the element of, murder capital of the world. It's a lot. So as you began that journey with your paper contracts and your walkie-talkies, was it immediate success? Like, were you just seeing, oh, dude, this is for me? Or was there like a lot of struggle? And if there was, what got you to overcome that? Was it a mentor per se, or was it a certain, practice you did? You can speak more to it.
Yeah. So keep in mind, like, it's not like today, there's no Instagram reels that you could start watching to train yourself. Like, there was no training online for door-to-door, period. And couple that with the fact that my sales manager was a 1,000 account rep who did not want to hear from you. Like, it was just like, hey,
okay,
don't freaking call me, bro. Like, under no circumstances during prime time, especially. So, and it was just like I said, like, the company was brand new to the state. They were assembling the desks when I showed up. They didn't even have the spray rigs ready. Like, we were booking out because the trucks weren't ready to go. They were waiting on licenses. Like, it was, it was a bit of a mess, like, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And nothing like how reps show up to area now. They're trained. They've gone to a conference. They have watched all the training materials, all that stuff, right? But back then, you get out there and you just like figure it out. We didn't know what we were charging. So again, it was my friend Jordan and I out there, and we were just like, when somebody wanted to buy, we just like, again, the first couple times we were just like, how's like $70 every 2 months sound? And the customers would be like, good, I guess. Like, is that what it costs? And we're like, yeah, we think so. And dude, the other thing too is like, I'm from Canada where all the houses have basements for the most part. And in Florida, like, I found out the hard way, dude, they don't have basements, right? So one of my first sales, I go into the house and they're like, we have some spiders. And I was like, let me guess, they're in the basement. And the customer's like, what do you mean there's like no basements in this entire state? And so I mean, I was a mess. Also, my first day, I dropped the contracts all over the lawn. They blew all over the place. Like, my buddy Jordan, like, he was about to go home because he baggled his first 4 days. And so he was like, and that was like, he was like this close. Like, I think he was even packing his truck up. But I just, I don't know, like, I got a couple here and there, and I just knew how bad I was. And it was just like, I was very, very obsessive. I would like go to the technician meetings in the morning at 8 a.m. just so I could like learn about the service. I would absolutely shadow around the office, the top producing sales manager. I would just ask him questions. He hated me because I was just like such a nuisance about asking him how to overcome different objections or how to explain the service better. And I just remember like talking to techs. Like, if a tech would talk to me, I'd talk to him for hours. So I was just like trying to learn about the industry so that I could better understand it, so that I knew what the crap I was selling. But something about that, your self-driven learning process, which is like, I had to like track down training. I don't know. It's just like, it's like too available now, like reps are overwhelmed with training, where for me, I was just like starved for information and I was so eager to get it. And as a result, I think I was, taking a more active role in the learning process, which, I think had its pros.
Yeah, dude. I love that. I was the same way. When I made the decision to do this job, because I'd known about it for a while, and I was pride, ego, stubbornness. Like, I was like, no way, dude. I used to make fun of door-to-door reps with their ears tucked into their hats. Like, yo, bro, what's your plans this summer? Like, I was one of those guys that like, I don't care. Like, cool, you have a Ford Raptor. You spend every penny that you made this summer to flex at college. Congrats. Like, I was such a hater. But then when you get into like the realities of life, I was married pretty young, kicked out of college because my grades sucked. Just trying to make my way without really knowing what that looked like. I was fortunate enough to just come across people that were doing door-to-door solar. And I was like 2.5 years into just farming 7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days. My wife at the time was also working. We barely saw each other. It's like 2.5 years just trying to, and we were just, when you're not making much money, you get paid, you pay your bills, and you eat your ramen. And I was just like, I'm sick of this, dude. And so these guys roll into town, driving the Raptors and their Subaru WRXs, living in nice houses, my age. And I was like, at this point, I was like waking up at like 4:30, that life. And I was like, What was funny is like, I got to know them. They never even tried to recruit me. But my wife nannied for someone who was a regional manager for an alarm company. So she plugged me with him. I did alarms for a summer. And then when those guys who became friends found out that I was actually now selling, because they're like, oh, Hunter's farming, he's making a career out of that. We're not going to bug him. So he did it out of respect. So we joke about it now. But after that, I posted a picture on like Facebook, and I was in my knocking gear, and they immediately called me and they're like, what the hell? You knock? And I was like, yeah. Anyway, so then I left alarms after a summer and joined them. But going back to your point, when I made that commitment, like, okay, cool, wave the white flag, like, clearly there's something here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to do this. Like, I was like you, dude. I wasn't allowed to knock because it was seasonal. Like, I got hired in April and then season started literally like 30 days to the T later. I was memorizing scripts in that meantime. I was calling around to different people in the company. Like, hey, do you have this person's phone number? And I was calling them, just trying to get any bit of information that I could. I was like, role playing. I hadn't even knocked a door yet. I was role playing with my wife in our apartment. She's laughing. I'm like, this is serious. Like I was really seriously, and it led to early on success as far as numbers go. And then when we actually were knocking, I was doing the same thing, dude. I was, I would sell an account, book the tech. I would shadow the tech inside while he was installing. They hated me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Because they wanted me to go get more business, and I'm just like, let me just like know the product. So that's what it takes, dude. It takes like that self-desire and obsession. You mentioned the word obsession. I believe that that's true. The best reps, they become obsessed with the job or anything, sports, whatever. It's like you have to make it an obsession. So it's so crucial. So to you for that. Was there any mentors in particular that also helped you out in the beginning phase of your career? Or is it just...
I'm so glad you asked that. And so, again, Tom Karen recruited me, but, he was busy and not full time in the market I was working in. But then Shandon Cole rolled in. There was like, hey, the owner's coming through. Everybody make sure your shirt's buttoned up and that you show up on time and everything like that. So, dude, I showed up 4 hours early, just waiting for the owner to get there so I could just like pick his brain. And God bless him. Shannon Cole shows up. And dude, he was willing to talk to me, a rookie, for like as long as I was willing to talk to him. First person in the company that was willing to talk to me until I was done was the owner of the company. And from that day forward, which was 19 years ago, Shannon Cole has 100% like always picked up and always spent as much time as needed. And so he was like, everything that he did, I just tried to do it the way that he did it. From training reps to running a company to leadership, management, everything that I could take from him was just like 100% how I was going to try and be a business owner and a business leader myself. And again, when you find somebody who's successful in your field and they're generous enough with their time, I just think that you have to take advantage of that. Always. And that is 100% when things click for me, is I just now had a full-time mentor who I could call anytime and talk to for as long as I needed to about anything. And that was Shannon Cole. Hugely beneficial to everything that, we've accomplished here in Canada and in Australia. He's a legend.
That's awesome, dude. Shout out to Shannon. We love a good mentor, man. Someone who's in a position of, they may not even recognize it, but people that are in positions where they have knowledge to share or eyes looking up to them. And for those that recognize that or don't, but are willing to spend the time with people like who you were 19 years ago, brand new rep, you know, that's amazing, because it's hard to come by nowadays. You know, there's good people out there, but a lot of people that are like running companies or upper echelon leadership or have a social media following, for crying out loud, they just like, I don't know, they're not as willing, I feel like, nowadays to give the time. So that's cool that he was, and even to this day, he'll still pick up the phone. That's rad. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice to have someone like that in your life. I know you got another thing going on here pretty soon, so I want to wrap up with just 3 questions. I'd love to riff for hours, because, you know, there's so much to talk about, so much going on, so much to talk about from the past and moving forward. But one question for you, Brendan, you know, in the last 19 years, sounds like there's been a lot of different things for you, primarily, I mean, in one industry, but there's been a lot of different ventures, things like that. If you had to pick one year or one season of your career so far that was your favorite time, for whichever reasons that are your own, what would you say that year was, or that time was, and why was it your favorite?
Oh, dude, that's hard when you have 19 years to choose from. I think it would rival. I think the first one that would come to mind would be my rookie year. I mean, the magic that happens as a rookie when you're making sales for the first time in a weird and foreign place, that is a special feeling to it. But I'm actually not going to pick that. I'm actually going to pick 2025, year 19. Okay. And that honestly is just because, dude, what we have now in our company as far as like the talent and the will is just never been like anywhere close to this. Like, we're smashing company records, and it's because of the like sharp, young, ambitious people that we have. We have 2 guys who are going to hit golden doors that are sophomore reps, so it's their second season. They will hit it in the French language. Wow. Out there selling pest control door to door in French in Quebec, exclusively selling in French for the most part. Rarely will they make a sale in English. So I think that'll be a first. And then I also think we might have a rookie who gets there too. And so that'll be a first in Canada. So, I mean, everything's coming together. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So things have just like taken off this year. It's our best year. And it's funny that like 10 years in Canada that it would take this long to have like our best year, but it just is a testament to the leaders that are in place. Like David Turner's, a foundational partner in Vantage Canada, Quinn Pauls, Jordan Earl, like the people that we have in place are just like battle proven. They've been around a long time, and the reps that we've been able to recruit and train and retain, like we have just some unbelievable talent. And so I would say, honestly, this year's been my favorite year, just because being able to see the kind of fruits of the labor and see the success that people are having, and it's just special. Like we've just completely taken everything to a new level, and it's really exciting to see.
19 years in, and it's your favorite year. Like, there's not many careers out there that people can honestly answer that. So I'm happy for you. That's amazing.
Well, what's cool about it is like your role changes over time, right? Like, it probably, to be honest with you, if I was knocking this year, I'm not sure it would be my favorite year. However, this year, for the first time in 6 years, my wife and I did get out there to knock on Victoria Day, which is kind of around the same time as Memorial Day for you guys in the US. It's like our big holiday, like reps go up and pull a 9 to 9. Mm-hmm. My wife and I are just like, okay, should we try and join the team? Because we're trying to hit 1 million in one day. Wow. And so we're just like, hey, let's get out there. So my wife, who's pregnant, and me, who hasn't knocked in 6 years, we got out there and we both dropped 11 sales, and that felt good. Yeah, because it had been a long time, right? Like, we got out there, dude, and I was horrible. Like, it is not like riding a bike. Like, it is not. No. I got out there, and the first couple doors, it was just like, I froze. Like, it was just like, I was not on. And it's funny because I still do sales meetings. So I'm like, yeah, it's the same. It'll be fine. Yeah. But my wife and I, we started out very slow, but then things started to turn. And once you got a couple sales, it just started to feel good again. And so, yeah, we both dropped 11 sales, which is like, honestly, for the company, like, we thought like we'll be like top in for the day, but we were just kind of like middle of the sales board for the day, but we were still pretty happy with it. Yeah, it was a monster day. It was monster. One of our guys from David we just missed it. We hit 946. Wow. But Dude, we're just like, kind of you want to miss it the first time because now we can run it back for Canada Day, which is actually next week, and we'll try and hit it then.
Nice. Are you going to get out again next week?
I haven't decided yet. I kind of want to end on a high note because I'm just like, oh, dude, what if I go out there and, drop 2 or 3 or something, That's right.
Because right now, they're like, dude, Brendan's the man, dude. He's running stuff. He goes out one day, hits 11. You're like, I don't know, man. And then you go out again and hit 2. They'll be like, wait a minute. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. I love it. It sounds like you guys just have a great situation going on up there. I'm happy for you and stoked to meet you guys in the org in Canada this year. I'll wrap up.
Yeah.
With two-part question. We'll answer it quick, so I want to let you go before your next thing. One, and I'm sure you're asked this a lot, what is Brendan Quinlan's number one piece of sales advice that you would give to any new rep? Like, hey, Brendan, I want to be successful. What's your biggest piece of advice for me to focus on, implement right now to be successful? That's the first question. And then second is, if you were to leave the industry today, which sounds like you're not, but if you were to leave the industry today and had to go do something else, what would be your biggest takeaway over the last 19 years? Deep.
Dang. Well, I'll hit on number 1 first. And it's a quote that I steal all the time and recycle it, but it's from Winston Churchill. And it reads, the definition of success is moving from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And to me, that is the ultimate door-to-door quote, because that's what it is. It's going from no to no, from door slam to door slam, and not losing your conviction and your confidence and, your enthusiasm. And so to me, that's the biggest piece of advice that I would give to reps. It's just like, you only lose and you only truly fail if you lose your enthusiasm and your spirit, and you ultimately quit. And so if you don't quit, you're going to ultimately win in door to door. That's just a truth that I think is absolute.
Yep.
And so it's just about staying in it long enough to win. Yep. And for some that takes 19 years, and for some it happens a lot faster. And whether it's the former or the latter, again, it's such a great feeling to know that you're in an industry where if you just stay in it, you're going to be able to really do some special things.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, man. It's a great answer. So many reps, if they're tasked to chop down a tree, they get frustrated after 3 chops. That tree didn't fall. It's like, dude, it's going to take 100 chops, man. Like, your job's to get the tree down. And if 100 later it's going to fall, why are you getting mad after 3? It's like they go get 5 door slam in their face and they're like pouty. It's like, you got to forget it. Keep going, dude. So I think more is a great answer. And then lastly, your biggest, 1 or 2, if you want, takeaways over the last 19 years.
I mean, that's hard. I mean, everything that I have and have, accomplished has been in door to door. I've never done anything else. My background is teaching. And so I studied to be a teacher, taught for a very small amount of time. And now I feel like my full-time job is to teach, but I just teach sales. And so I think that what I would take away from door to door if I left it was like, hey, I would go teach sales formally. And I would try and do that at the university level in Canada. That is non-existent. It isn't a formally taught skill in universities in Canada. There's actually only 2 schools in all of Canada that even have sales as a topic at any point throughout the curriculum. And it's obviously a huge industry that people go into after they get a marketing degree or a business degree. And so that's what I try and take away is just like my ability that I've learned from teaching lots of reps. I would try and take that and teach it more formally academically. And that was always a passion for me. Was I wanted to teach. I got my teaching degree. Never formally taught that extensively, but hey, I've made a career of teaching sales, and I'd like to, do more of that if I got out of door to door, because it's an underserved space. Like everyone sells, and it's not formally taught in universities. That's insane.
I know.
That needs to change. And so that would be one thing that I would like to work on after door to door or in conjunction with. I think I'll always be in door to door, but I just like the opportunity to teach more formally, because again, it's something that every business student, every student should learn at some point in their life or career.
I agree, man. Is it taught in American universities, sales? I don't even know.
Not really. It's not popular either. Like there's one school in Canada and it's a good school. It's called Western, and their business school is called Ivy. And the Ivy School of Business has a like full one course where they teach sales in just that one course. But you can't major in it, you can't minor in it. And that is common in Canada and the United States as far as I know. Now, I've heard that in the US there is more universities or colleges that will teach sales like as an elective or as a class that you can sometimes take, but it not being like a core foundational course for young business students is insane. Like it makes no sense because most grads start out in a sales role. 50% of grads in Canada, their first job is in sales, and they don't teach them that in university. And 80% of marketing grads go into sales, and same thing. They don't learn about sales. Sales and marketing are not the same thing.
What a great recruiting pitch if you ever go to universities, and just like going to like business fairs or job fairs or whatever, and saying like, hey, like you like this is going to be a skill that you wish was like one of the biggest things taught throughout your degree. Let me give you the platform to get that because the school isn't right now. And when you go and do what you want to do, you'll be grateful for the 1, 2, 3 years, whatever you did, with us. So that's amazing. But Brendan, appreciate your time, my man. For our listeners here that enjoyed this podcast, what you had to say. Well, one, don't worry, Brendan's going to be back on actually here in studio later this year with Sam himself. So make sure you follow our podcast because it'll be a good one. And two, if you're on social media, people want to follow you, your journey, see more of you, where can they find you?
Yeah, my LinkedIn is probably better than my Instagram. Again, the old man version, but I will be sure to share that. And yeah, hit me up on there if there's anything I can do to help.
Sounds good. What channel is your walkie-talkie on so we can all tune in? I love it, dude. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for hopping on, Brendan. We appreciate you. Again, if you like this podcast, follow along, subscribe. We do these 1, 2, 3 times a week, and we always have the best guests on. But thanks for watching. And Brendan, thank you, dude.